There's two waves. One has been affecting us this morning in the Northeast. New York City, there's been raindrops falling all morning, but some of them have been freezing on surfaces. So whether you're in Jersey, whether you're in New York, this morning you've been dealing with a little bit of freezing rain earlier. Now temperatures have warmed up. Here's where we are in New York City. 34 degrees. We were at 32 for a while, actually. So that's good news. It's a good trend to see there. Long Island, we've really all, I think, pretty much now have warmed up above freezing. But you see over in Linden, we're still at 33. So we still have some pockets of freezing rain that we are dealing with, I think, in spots because we're not that far from freezing, right? Same thing up in White Plains. We finally gotten there above freezing, but we're not far from it. So I bet you there's still some slick spots out there, I think, in another hour at least before everyone gets up above freezing. Now, there's been some issues this morning. These are all the freezing rain reports we've had, like down around Toms River and Long Branch, Spring Lake Heights. You've had some freezing rain, East Norriton, Pennsylvania, outside of Philly. You've had some freezing rain and a glaze of ice early on. But you can see in Philly now, we're up to 37 degrees. In Boston, we're now up to 33. So, look, everything going in the right direction when it comes to help with travel. But this wave goes up here into New England. So that brings us some snow into Maine. Along the coast, it'll be mainly rain, though. But then what's happening in the south, right? That moisture comes up and we get that overnight into tomorrow morning. It'll be rain across Connecticut, Rhode Island, eastern Massachusetts, but there will be an area just inland that sees a little bit of freezing rain. So we are concerned about that for your commute tomorrow morning. Snow up to the north, and then through the day, we'll keep that snow going there into northern Maine. And yes, Caribou, you're going to be adding more here. That's where we have a widespread, maybe 5 to 8 inches of snow coming our way. For everyone else, the rainfall fairly light here. It's going to be less than an inch, but snowfall widespread area, 5 to 8. That's the purple that we have up there in Maine. All right, Alex, let's go south. The folks going to get to warm up and dry out down there. Here you see the blue skies in the background there. But we're going to have here an ebb and flow day, every other day kind of deal with some clippers coming on through this week, bringing us the clouds, the snow showers, and some colder temperatures. So it adds up here. If you start tomorrow and go all the way to Saturday, to some moderate accumulations like here into northern parts of Michigan, but you're not getting it all at once. So let's take you through how this all plays out. Little dip in our jet stream does allow these clipper systems to travel and traverse right across this zone. We'll see these dive down, and in typical clipper fashion, they won't have a ton of moisture with them. They'll bring some snow chances. They'll also bring some colder air with it and probably some gusty winds too. So that'll drive down the wind chill, which is what we're showing you right here. So your forecast wind chills into Tuesday morning. We've got a lot of single digits like around Chicago, Rochester, or teens. Detroit, we're going to feel like single digits. Then we warm up. Just a smidge, but enough, right? We're getting to the 20s before the next system comes through, and then behind it, west wind, north wind brings in some colder air. Temperatures drop down, they go back up again, and then by the time we get in the weekend behind that system, we cool down. In fact, that's the coldest of the air of the week that comes in, and that'll knock us down to feels like in the single digits as we look ahead to your Sunday across this area. So let me show you an example. Minneapolis, today 21 for a high, then 42, and then we've got that up and down as we get into the weekend, and we really go down, actually, Alex, as we get into the weekend. I mean, look, at this point in the season, I think Minneapolis, you still want the cold air because you want to get out and do all that ice fishing and all the great, activities that they have on the frozen lakes out there.
Yeah, speaking of those frozen lakes, getting a pretty great view of the frozen lakes from space. We had a visible satellite to show you what's going on, and there it is. You can see some of the white areas there north of Perkins. That's all ice, but look how you see some of the breakage taking place here for us. So it's pretty cool to see that on the satellite view. And of course, we're always warning folks to not walk out on that ice because it could break unless you truly know how thick it is.
Our brainstorm team put ice to the ultimate test in a unique experiment to determine what safe thickness it should be.
Yeah, got to be careful on that ice.
Yeah.
I always say if you don't know how to even check how thick the ice is, you probably shouldn't be going on it.
When I went out and did that ice thing, how to get out of ice safely if you fall through the ice here. I mean, I don't know how to check ice safely, and I was just trusting everyone else to do it. Of course, I was with, the fire department, so they did know, but I still felt that, stress of oh, no, how do you know? How do you really know it's thick enough?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So, got to be safe out there, no doubt about it, to avoid running into big problems.
Well, we want to know what our question of the day about the winter activities that you are still trying to fit in, because, we're counting down 41 days left until spring. So are you missing out on anything, or are you just looking forward to spring? And if so, what activities? And it's left about 10,000 children unable to go to school because their schools were ruined.
Wow, terrible situation there. Just guys, as you start thinking about the fact that our hurricane season right around the corner.
Yeah, no, it really is. Today, though, we're dealing with just a pesky little system through parts of South Carolina, North Carolina that left a glaze of ice, Alex. And when you looked at it on a radar, you're like, oh, this wasn't a big deal. But yes, it's a big deal because of the glaze of ice.
Yeah, that's all it takes out there for us. Now, fortunately, things are starting to warm up here for us, so improving. But still, we got to be careful here for the next couple of hours. And then this thing's going to push north and bring more issues to